Welcome to podcast number 13. Sorry we were a little late tonight. I just got off the fence line and I didn't even get to wash up. I just came right to headquarters here. And we're going to start her off. First guest we have on tonight, Luke Mudwalker, Red Barn Customs. We're going to follow that with Jake Newman. And here we go. Luke, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, perfect. I think we got the audio figured out.
Good deal.
So Luke, you own a custom mud truck parts shop,
Yes, sir.
and that's your Red Barn Customs.
Yes.
Where are you located?
We're in Yale, Michigan. We're about 2 hours north of Detroit.
Okay. So we're northern Minnesota. We're probably, God, I don't even know how far we are from Detroit. We're a ways away anyway.
Right.
First of all, let's, well, it looks like you got a partner in crime there. You want to introduce her?
Yes, this is Diane. She's our office assistant manager, so she's the one that answers phones for taking parts orders and helps us out greatly at the shop.
Perfect. So she's going to be your first contact when you get a hold of you guys to look at some cool mud truck parts.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Let's let's get a little background on you. I actually, Sloan, my partner in crime here, and I were talking the other day, and we noticed that you guys were watching or following our Facebook. And I'm like,
Yes.
God, I don't know a whole lot about these guys, but I snooped on some of your social media stuff, and I was like, wow, they build some really cool stuff. We weren't sure if we were gonna do another mud oriented podcast, and we had the opportunity. I reached out to you, and you were down to do it. It sounded like a great idea, but I don't know a whole lot about your background. I know that from snooping that you build some really cool 2.5 ton and 5 ton stuff. But let's throw some background here so everybody can kind of get to know you. What got
Sure.
you into the mud motorsports?
Back when I was a teenager, one of my buddies built a monster truck from back in the day in the early 80s called Showtime Monster Truck. We
Sure.
were all part of a four-wheel drive club back in the early to mid 80s. And I've been involved with it ever since. So those guys inspired me, and I've been dealing with it the whole time.
Nice. So you got back in, or you got into it back in the 80s.
Yep.
So, um, what do you think of the evolution of these, what they consider a mega truck as far as the mud trucks go? I'm sure that had to probably up your business because a lot of them guys are running like a 2.5 ton Rockwell, stuff like that. Do you specialize in any of that stuff?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that going around. A lot of these trucks now, they're basically mini monster trucks. They've
Right.
got so much technology, so much horsepower. We've got guys out there. When I say this, it sounds far fetched, but they had anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 horsepower in some of these trucks. Where Monster Jam, those guys only have like 1,500 horsepower.
Right. No, I've got a good buddy that was on. He was on 2 weeks ago. Just built a new truck, the Heathen truck, and he had his old truck, Vulgar Display, was like in that 1,500, 1,800 horsepower mark,
Right,
and this one's pushing like 22 or something crazy like that. Amazing
right.
to me, they're putting these big blower motors in these things, and they're just getting it. It's really cool to
They're
watch.
getting. I mean, even 10 years ago, to build horsepower like that was really expensive. And today, even though the prices of everything else is out of control, you can build some serious horsepower for not the money that it used to be.
Right?
There's
No,
so many
absolutely.
aftermarket high performance parts available. Yeah.
So then you're more the drive line of this thing. You're talking
Right.
axles, wheels, stuff like that, right?
We specialize in custom axles, housings, and wheels. That's our primary business.
Gotcha. So you had to figure out how to build this stuff to hold 2,200, 3,000 horsepower too.
Yep. A lot of trial and error, man.
I bet.
Broke a lot of parts. I broke a lot of parts over my lifetime, and I like to kind of build things on the overkill level. Stuff's heavy, doesn't break. We've got a truck out there called Sail Mega Truck. If
Yep.
you ever looked him up online, he does some serious jumping, and our wheels have lived through all his jumps over the years. And pretty proud of a lot of the trucks we have parts on out there.
No, that's awesome. I know the truck just from the internet. I've never seen it live, but that thing's a machine, and he skies that thing out.
People really don't know how high the dude's jumping. So I'm 6'2", and I've got a barn that's got a 14-foot ceiling plus the peak of the roof.
Yep.
Me and you could be standing on the roof with beers in our hand, holding a beer up above our head, and the bottom of the tires won't even touch us.
That's crazy.
Jump. I mean, think about that. The guy flat lands it and keeps on going. There's no ramp, like a landing ramp like Evil Knievel had or Monster Jam guys have. Just flat lands it on skinny tires versus big wide 66s. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Same.
That's got to have a lot to do with the suspension travel. When you actually hit, not bottoming out, not jarring the crap out of yourself. There's got to be a ton of engineering into, you know, I expect to jump this high, and everybody goes, yeah, right. And then you see him sky that thing out, and it's like, oh, we better build better suspension.
Yeah. People think use that for an example, but a lot of these guys that jump, people are like, oh, I want to be just like this guy. I'm going to be the next blah 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 whatever. Until they get to the place and they stand there, and if you're lucky enough to walk up the ramp, I'm 54 years old, man. There's no way I'm jumping that.
No,
You got to
absolutely.
make it to work on Monday. You know what I mean? Like that's some serious air. Just the ramp is crazy on these things.
So, as far as local mud bogs, I'm sure you have quite a selection around your area, don't you?
Yes.
See, around here, we're in northern Minnesota. Most of our events are 2 to 3 hours south of us. We have one local show here. It's actually in Cohasset, right down the road from my place. Kind of how I got into mudding. Good friend of mine started mudding in my backyard, his backyard. Next thing you know, we built a little. It's not little, but we built Benson Bog Days. My buddy Nate Benson built that thing himself, and that's like our one mud bog here. We have 2 events a year, and we travel to some of the other ones, but where you're at, you probably see how many different trucks, how many different shows a year.
Lots. There's a bog basically every weekend throughout the year between. Since we're Michigan, we have the summer months that we do this and spring
Right.
months. But Florida, Georgia, Texas, all the southern states, there's bogs everywhere. Arkansas, you name it, they're there.
And then your customer base, of course, is all these guys.
Right.
Nice. I don't know. Do you have too many customers over here in Minnesota?
Got quite a few.
Oh, no kidding.
We
I
work,
probably know
we
some of
kind
them
of work.
guys.
Yeah, we work hand in hand with actually a company from Minnesota, Overson Engineering. They make axle shafts and stuff.
Yep.
We build a lot of custom stuff for all those guys, and
Nice.
so that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. So you got into mudding in the 80s. I know when we
Yep.
were chatting, you said that you were an Imperial guy when it came to derby stuff.
Yes, sir.
You got a background in derby too.
Yeah, about 20 years worth.
No kidding. I keep on preaching to everybody that we talk to on this thing that we're all kind of the same sort of motorsport enthusiast people. We're all the same, no
Right.
matter if we're into mud trucks or our derby cars, our enduro cars, race cars, stuff. We all have some sort of high octane in our blood, so to speak.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your derby career then.
So basically, I'm a big black moper guy. There's not too many of us out there. And like when I would run these Imperials, nobody would believe that these big black mopars would run and run and run and run because they'd all put small block Chevys in them and move them way back. And, they're like, those big boat anchors can't run. And I would just do a bunch of tricks to them back then, and I would make the damn things run, and they would scream. I put a big gear in them, and those 6,000-pound Imperials would just really, really move and did a lot of damage, man.
Right on.
I took
Do
a
you do
lot of
any
second
derby
place.
anymore? Or?
I kind of help out. I don't drive them anymore. I would love to. I don't have the time to build the cars. I don't have time to get my mud truck going because it's a 6, 7 day a week deal. Everything we're doing now because all this custom stuff takes so long, and we're short-handed. Nobody wants to work today, and just a lot sucks up all my time.
Sure. What goes into designing a wheel for one of these trucks? I mean, I'm sure your customer comes to you with a size in mind, a strength in
Yep.
mind. Um, I personally I have a tractor tire on my mud truck, and I have a
Yep.
solid dish wheel, and everybody tells me that that's the weakest wheel I can have, and I'm like, but it's a solid steel wheel. Yep, nope. If you have this cut in it, it makes it this much stronger, and if it has this gusset, and I know nothing about that sort of stuff, so I think I
Right.
have an expert on here. What do you think? What makes it strong?
Wheel, Wheels and tires dictate your whole entire build.
Yep,
So I tell people all the time, they're like, well, what size tire do you want to run? And they'll tell me a size and an axle that they're planning on running and what kind of horsepower they're planning on running. And I tell them right away, that won't work, or it will work, but you're going to have to spend a ton of money to get the same result if you go this direction. So there's lots of axles out there. Like we specialize in 2.5 tons and 5 tons in the Rockwell stuff, but there's a Meritor axle out there. There's Axle Techs out there. There's all kinds of hybrid stuff. And the cool part is Rockwell's may not be the main line of today's race guys stuff, but they have the backbone support to do anything. You've got new parts, old parts, used parts, NOS parts, aftermarket, custom. So you can't beat the support that's behind it. If can't get a part from me and they're on the other side of the country, they can get a part somewhere to fix their truck. A lot of these other axles, you can't get parts for them. Even if you got this axle for free, it may be the greatest axle in the world, but when it breaks, how do you fix it? And until stuff changes and more stuff happens in the future, a lot of those axles, they're a choice axle, but you can't fix them. So that people don't understand that. They're like, I got to run this because this guy's running it. Okay, how do you fix it?
right. I'm still on a quite a bit smaller scale. Mine's a 1 ton truck. Um,
Okay,
but I do have a set of Rockwells, 2.5 tons,
okay,
and I know nothing about them honestly. They're like for me, it was a military surplus deal. I got a good deal on stuff that I thought was going to work, and I haven't perfected this thing as a 1 ton yet. So I haven't moved from that platform. I'm running a big gear. I'm running a 42-inch tractor tire, and I'm 4 linked in the rear. It's just a bog truck, but
okay.
I've had everything from about 770 horses in front of it to I tried a little motor. That didn't work. I've dumped a bunch of money in motors. I haven't really got to the drivetrain of this thing yet. So somebody like me going into it, um, would you try to push me towards going right to them Rockwells, or would you have something for a customer like me that would want to try to perfect this bog truck on 1 tons?
Yep, we could help you out with your 1 ton stuff. So what I would tell you, say you're my customer, you called out of the blue, I don't know you from Adam, and you want a bunch of advice on this. I would tell you to fix and maintain the truck that you're driving, tweak it out with like some better wheels or whatever we could do for you for your application, and go bog that truck every weekend. And in the meantime, with your 2.5 tons, build a completely separate, different truck.
Right.
Because now you're not on a time frame. You can still have fun, and you can build at your leisure where you're not all pressured. Where I gotta have it done, because I can't go to this bog because I don't have a truck. Okay, well, these things are expensive. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time. A lot of these TV shows out there, I don't know if I can swear on your show or not, but they really kind of piss me off because they present this deal where in 2 or 3 episodes of this half-hour show, you can have this truck done and be, wheeling and having fun. And a lot of times it takes guys anywhere from 1 year to 5 years to build a truck because they don't have the money to buy all these crazy parts right off the get.
I'm glad you just said that. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not very proud of it, but I've had my truck for 5 years, and everybody teases me. I've spent about 22 minutes in the mud with that thing in 5 years. I break it every time I touch it. But I haven't perfected that one yet, so I haven't expanded and grown bigger. So I do like your advice. It makes perfect sense for somebody like me. I'm on a budget. I usually only go to 1, maybe 2 mud bogs a year. I do have my old beater $700 square body that it doesn't matter what you do to it. I can throw it on the trailer, bring it somewhere, and it goes.
Right.
Once I get this Jeep done, I have been accumulating parts. So that's always been a dream of mine to have like a mega truck. But when you start breaking a 1-ton every time you touch it, it's like, I got to get this right first.
What are you breaking at? Just curious.
I went through 3 engines in it in 4 years.
Gotcha. So basically you're having like over revving them type of deal.
I got one hot that we played with quite a bit. That was my fault. I wasn't watching gauges. I was actually having fun. I bought one that I was told was a really good motor, and I probably bought a junk motor. You know, when you go on a place like say Facebook Marketplace, and you're going, yeah, that thing looks great. You got to remember, somebody's selling that because it was their problem. I started with the Jeep that was somebody else's problem. I fixed all the drivetrain issues that I could see, and then I put a motor in it. And it's like anything else. It's steady by inches. I'm not going to win, like you said. A couple episodes on a TV show isn't going to cut it. I've put tons of hours in this thing. I haven't broke like any drivetrain parts. Knock on wood.
Good.
I have a hunch. I got a good friend that wants to build another 383 stroker, small block. I have a hunch once I put that kind of power to it, then I'm going to have drivetrain issues that I got to address too. I haven't been lucky enough to get a good enough engine in there, power plant in there to figure out what else is going to twist.
Let me ask you this. Is your radiator in the front where the engine is, or is it in the back of the bed?
It's actually right behind the seats.
So you relocated it?
Yeah, this is it's not even a Jeep. It's a 70-something CJ5 sitting on a Blazer frame that's chopped down and overlapped. 4-linked rear. It's it's kind of a it started his life as a trail truck, and I decided it was going to be a mud truck. So now I'm trying to work at that.
That's cool. So you have a problem right now with it running hot with the radiator behind you, or no?
Honestly, I think when I heated it up, it was probably my issue. Just not paying attention. I was having some fun with it, and I got it in a really deep hole behind my house. And in order to get her out of there, I had to hit the eject button a couple times real hard and got her kind of warm. And the next spring, I was really bummed out because that was a really good motor, and it wouldn't turn. It was locked up solid.
Gotcha.
So we've been fighting from there, but we don't need to talk about my.
Yeah, just figured. I get questions like that on the phone all the time, and it just leads you wherever, like right now, kind of going down a rabbit hole this way for whatever.
Sure.
But I could tell you more about whatever you want to know. Let me know what you want to talk
No,
about.
That's super cool. I like how, like, I don't know you at all, really. I mean, we talked a couple times, sent a couple messages back and
Right.
forth. And one thing that this platform has done for us is we've been able to meet different people, different areas. They probably have a different specialty than I have, or, a lot of my friends do. And it's fun to pick, those ideas from those different people. I'd never have this experience had I just been at my local mud bog every week.
Right. I like to spend a lot of time with everybody. I mean, I probably talk too much, but that's what I do. I mean, I've busted so many parts in my lifetime, and it caused us to make something so much stronger. And then once you do this, the next part breaks. It was like that in the derby world. It's like that in the mud truck world. And first things started getting, better and better for quality of construction, but their physical appearance wasn't cosmetically, aesthetically pleasing. So then
Sure.
over time, things get better and they're stronger, more attractive, better, better, better. And that's just kind of how the whole thing's evolved over so many years.
So you're building strong wheels that you stand behind. You're building
Yep.
Rockwells to a specialty customer. You're kind
Yep.
of just in a little bit that I've talked to you tonight. I can already tell that you're the kind of guy that wants to know the backstory behind it. You want to know what the intention of it is, and you're going to custom fab something together for that guy's application.
Right.
Right on.
Most of the stuff we build never existed before on a daily basis. You know what I mean? So we try to tailor each part for the guy. So say you've got a $5,000 or $10,000 budget, right?
Right.
And you and your buddy and your buddy's buddy want to buy this stuff. I want you to spend money with me, but I don't want you to waste your money because I can kind of guide you in a direction to where whether you're buying that part from me or for somebody else, you're going to get the most bang for the buck and get the best deal for fixing your stuff. Some stuff, people, like a lot of my customers, look at the bottom number and that's all that they care about. They want the fastest, the cheapest, whatever. That's not me. Don't call me because we are packed on work and there's a reason for that and we build quality. People forgot about that. They just want fast speed, like you go to McDonald's and get a 30-second cheeseburger, or you push your phone button and you're on Facebook, and all of a sudden this custom stuff's done. The custom world doesn't work like that. You got to
No.
wait. You got to patiently wait because there's 40 guys ahead of you. You can't call on Wednesday and expect to build a truck and be at a bog on Saturday. And we get a lot of guys. That's what their false thing is. They really think like, oh, I saw it on TV, we could do it, or my buddy says I could do this.
I
You
think
know,
somewhere in there with, I don't want to blame it on the internet necessarily, but somewhere in there
right,
when we got more information, people just automatically assume that if I'm a consumer, it's instantaneous. I should be able to, if I have a thick enough wallet, I can throw money at this and boom, I'm going to have
right,
it now. And
right,
the stuff you specialize in isn't something that you can just snap your fingers and get, right?
right. People want to know like, how come you don't have all that stuff on the shelf? Well, the backspace for the wheels off, the lug pattern's different, the color's wrong, the valve stem position's on the wrong side of the wheel. I can't make every single thing that you could dream of and have it sitting on the shelf because A, if I did, how long would it sit there? And B, I'd never be able to work on people's stuff that they actually needed.
Right.
So it's been a battle over the last 20 years for that kind of stuff.
No, I get that. I think that what you have is a very specialized product. Um,
Right?
your customer base should be the guy that knows what he wants, knows that it's built strong, knows that you're going to stand behind it, and can afford to wait for it too, right?
Right? You got to
Makes
plan
sense.
for it. Like they'll have all winter long to get a first warm day of spring, and then they're mad because there's a 6 month wait on getting a set of wheels. Well, why is it
Right.
6 months? Well, it just takes forever, and we're shorthanded. You can't. Nobody today nobody wants to work. Or if you do get a guy, they're going to claim to be the best guy in the world, and they're going to come to your work, and they're going to get on this and wherever it's at here, and they're going to just sit there and be on their phone all day long and not get anything done. but they want top pay and they have no skill at all. So you can't do that. That's not the way that goes. You know,
No, I've
too busy.
run into that. I'm a fencer by trade. I build fence, and
Okay.
I've been doing it for over 20 years. And somewhere in there, we hit this different generation.
Yep.
I don't know what people are getting taught in school or how it came about, but I was taught in the 80s that your work ethic shows, and that's what determines your wage. Not I showed up and I was here in this spot for 8 hours, give me my money. I I have a problem
Right.
with that.
I do too. Just give you an example, man. All right. So there's so many places that build parts like me. Okay. My truck, my personal mud truck, is a '66 Dodge Charger. It was an old school build back in the day. And that truck's been down since May of 2009. It's in 100 pieces.
Oh,
Okay. Everywhere I go, people are like, when are you going to get your truck together? When are you going to get your truck together? I probably will never get my truck together because I'm busy working on everybody else's stuff. I can't put my truck in front of everybody and expect to get their stuff done. It takes so long to get their stuff done anyway. Do I want
sure.
my truck? Hell yeah, I want my truck done because I haven't drove it so long. I've driven lots of other trucks in the meantime, but they're not mine. It's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Even if you had a big pig that's got 200 horsepower and you're out in the mud playing, drinking beer, having fun, that's the best, man. But sitting
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
sidelines sucks. But everywhere I go, I end up helping people. I have a personal mud dog at my shop here once a year. And the last one we had in July, one of my customers broke his truck. He drove 4 hours to get here. I missed half my mud bog fixing his truck for free so he could get back out there and get his mud truck running. And he couldn't believe, like, I wouldn't take no money for it, whatever. I just wanted that guy to go out and have fun. And when he did, he had the biggest grin on his face, and he tells everybody, "Man, you got to go there. You got to go to Red Barn. They're going to treat you right, you know." And that's what it's all about, you know.
It really is. We travel most of the state. We branched out. We're doing some shows in North Dakota this year for derbies, and we don't we don't ask for a lot. We like to get out there. We like to show everybody what everything's going on, and
Sure.
you know if we got a really long travel shot, it'd be nice if we get a little gas money, but in reality, we coined this phrase. We had a good friend that told us to use it, but we say it's all about the experience. Every episode, I always
Right?
say that. That's how I end the show, and it it really is. Like my mud truck's been sitting for 5 years, on and off, and my local mud bog, I help them out. I do the announcing there. I've helped with security. I do the DJ in there. I build the fence around the place. By the time it's actually mud bog weekend, the last thing I have on my plate is the truck still sitting there. If I get it
Right?
there, great. So far, that hasn't happened a bunch, but it's all about the experience. It's about that show and all of our guests that show up and the fun and the camaraderie we have. It's a great time. Would I like to be out there behind the wheel of something with them? Absolutely.
Right?
Uh, it has to take the back burner until everything else is done. You know.
I tell people all the time, you're focused on your one truck that you're building. I'm focused on 200 trucks that are continuously rotating, rotating, rotating. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, there's so much going on to keep it straight. When Diane first started here, I told her, I said, this is going to be so confusing. And to try to keep it straight on a daily basis, it's insane because you get so many guys. Give me an example. They all have the same kind of trucks. Their names are so similar for first name, last name. Their truck's similar. Their state's the same. They're going all to the same bog and trying to get stuff to Louisiana Mudfest or wherever they're going. It's just crazy how to keep it straight. And sometimes like it's 8:40 here right now. We're here till 9, 10 o'clock at night and start at 8 in the morning. When do I have time to work on my mud truck? Figure that
Right.
out.
They don't build enough hours in a day.
They don't. They don't. I'm trying to figure it out. I really suck at time management. And I always give this analogy. You're a derby guy, okay? So you're going to go out there and your intention is to go hit this Chevy wagon. You're going to hit that guy no matter what. And you're headed that way to hit him. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 you're going 15 different directions. And what happened? Why, and that's how my day goes, between phone calls and people stopping in, and emails and texts and Facebook messages and all these different platforms. People are trying to get a hold of me. It gets so bad that I can't work on anything during the day because I am talking to people all day long. And they're like, you built every single part in the shop, right? I used to, but that's not the case anymore. I have my hands on everything, but I don't build every single part in the shop. I wish it did, but it's just too busy and dealing with trying to give the good customer care, to people on the phone. And like this is a pretty cool deal. I've never really done this, and I'm having fun doing it. So it's pretty cool to sit here and look at how everything works in the background and a little time delay, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
That was the hardest thing for me when I started doing it. Like my earpiece that I have on here, I hear myself like 4 seconds after I say something. So I got an echo in my head that's me. Plus, I'm trying to concentrate on what you're saying. It's been fun for me to learn this, and I'm just a dumb fence guy. Likes mud trucks, likes lots of horsepower. I like to smash stuff up every once in a while, and I had to learn technology to do this. And I'm not by any means good at it, but it's been a fun experience for me. I'm about a little over a year into the high octane media experience. I'll get better. Hopefully we expand. Hopefully get to do a lot more stuff. But this weekly podcast, it was a brainchild of Sloan. He came up with it, and he doesn't know anything about mud trucks, so he decided to take a couple weeks off and threw me in front of the camera. And I've been having a blast with it. Reaching out to you was really, really cool because I didn't have any preconceived idea. I didn't know you. I didn't know anything about what you did. Like I said, did some snooping on Facebook, and I'm like, man, he builds cool stuff. Sent you the message, and I get a generic message back, which we do the same thing with our Facebook, because you gotta, it's instantaneous world. You gotta let people know that we're gonna get back to you. We might be busy, so I see this auto-generated message pop up, and I looked at it and I just giggled, and I'm like, this guy's name is Luke Mudwalker. Like, I gotta meet this guy. like I asked you today, I'm like, do you honestly want me to introduce you as Luke Mudwalker? That's my name. I was like, yes.
I sitting right next to me. I wish I could show you, but on the wall I have a Trucks Gone Wild Hall of Fame plaque, and it says Luke Mudwalker.
That's awesome.
Maybe I can. I don't know if the cord's long enough. Hang on a second here. I don't know. Can you see that?
Oh, heck yeah. That's sweet.
Mudwalker. There you go. Just saying. Kind of funny, but I lost it there. There you go.
Yeah, we're still there.
But yeah, man, it's just cool that, I love all the stuff. I do have a derby question for you.
All right.
Have you ever driven a full frame Imperial? What I mean by that is like a 64 through 66 Imperial.
Oh, God, no. No, like, honestly, my derby experience, everybody's trying to get me into a derby car this year. And
okay,
we run enduros around here, enduro races, 100-lap race. When I had an enduro car that I knew wouldn't make it 100 laps, I'd finish it off in a derby. So it's run-of-the-mill, whatever. My derby experience isn't extensive by any means. We've watched a lot of really good derbies. We've got a lot of good footage of really good derbies, but I haven't been in a car that we actually smashed up in 7 years, I think.
Wow. So when I was at my peak, I was running anywhere from 15 to 20 derbies a year. And we'd travel. We'd go to Canada. We'd go to Ohio. I hauled a derby car all the way to Florida from Michigan to go race down there. It was just such an addiction. But when these cars I'm talking about, we would touch them up a little bit. We'd follow the gray area, where
Sure.
you can interpret your own version. But when you'd hit somebody, the thud of the sound that these cars made is incredible. I've never experienced anything. I've been in a lot of different year Imperials, but the full framers, I ran a lot of 61s, a lot of 62s, 3s, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8s. I mean, all the way up into the 70s. And those 4s through 6s, man, they just make a sound, and we call it the Imperial thud.
Huh.
When you hit somebody, all of a sudden there's this sound, and then there's like a time lapse. This car just accordions in, and it's just like destroyed, and you pull away, and your car's not even bent. People are like, how's that even possible? It's the way they made those cars. Just the sheet metal's 3 times thicker. It's a full frame car. You put a big gear in it, and for a heavy car, it'll zip. You put a 513 or something bigger in that thing, and it will just get up and go in a short distance, kind of like a Monster Jam. Those guys all got planetary axles and hybrid stuff, so when they punch it in a short distance, they can really pack a punch real quick.
So we got a question up here. Seth Neighbor, SN Films. He says, "Hey Luke, how did you get the last name? He heard the story and he's curious if it was true how it came about."
All right, so I've been around this mudbog scene since the early '80s. Okay, So in the mid 2000s, I met the Trucks Gone Wild guys, Matt Steele, Chuck Davis, and Maestro, and the rest of the crew. They came up to Michigan for a bog, and I've always heard the joke, Luke Skywalker, from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole weekend, Chuck Davis, he's one of the owners of Trucks Gone Wild, he kept saying, Luke Skywalker, Luke Skywalker. He's like, you're not a rapper. He's like, you're out in the mud walking. You're Luke Mudwalker. And I'm like, no, don't coin me with that, man. I don't want to be Luke Mudwalker. And he's like, you are Luke Mudwalker. And it stuck. I mean, it stuck like you can't believe. I'm ready to go change my driver's license to Luke Mudwalker because that's how everybody refers to me. Your middle name's Mud. I'm like, yeah, I'm always in trouble, and I'm always walking in the mud because my truck's down on the sidelines.
Right on.
But that's how it came up. So I don't know what story he heard, but I was there, so that's how it happened.
Right on. We're going with your story.
Cool. What did he say? I'm kind of curious.
He says that's awesome. Bah, thanks.
Yep. Right on. Cool. That's
So
pretty cool.
maybe at some point I talk with Seth every once in a while, and maybe I'll have to actually hear off camera what his rendition was, and then I'll forward it to you. We can all talk about it.
Yeah. Be good over some beers.
Right on. But it looks like we're at like the 38-minute mark here. So, Luke, like I said, that half hour goes really quick. Before we get off of here, for one, thank you so much for actually responding to me, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be in here with me. I didn't realize it is an hour difference between us. Anybody special shout out you want to give? Any last words?
Just in general to the whole Mudbog community, it's a really good community. Same with the Derby community. I've never been involved in stuff like this where people actually help everybody, man. It's been a great experience for both worlds, and I love that because you go somewhere you don't know anybody and your truck breaks down. It's like, here's a starter, or here's an axle shaft, whatever. It's like that in both worlds, and that's pretty cool to me,
It's crazy to me the competition that runs through these guys' blood, and how competitive they can be. Whether it's anything, a mud truck, a derby car, whatever. But like you said, man, I broke this. I got one of them. Here, take it. Like they're helping somebody fix their stuff that could potentially go out there and beat them, whether it be a derby or a race or whatever. the camaraderie that comes along with the motorsports that we deal with is just amazing to me.
Right. It's a love for the sport. There's guys I know that don't even like each other, and I've seen them help other people out. That whatever they put that aside for a moment and just roll with it, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm glad you had us on, so thanks. Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you. That was awesome. Like I said, it was Sloan's idea. He's like, well, reach out to this guy, see if he even wants to be on here, you know. And I reached out to you, and instantly, like I said, we got that first message out of the way, and then we started our conversation, and you were willing to do it, and I'm like, okay, we got to fill a half an hour, and in all honesty, we probably could fill hours if we wanted to. It's great to get to know you.
Right.
Great to have you on here so more people can know your backstory, know what you have for products available, know that you take pride in your work, and you build good stuff. So that's awesome.
Right. Pretty cool. And when I started
Awesome.
this business, there wasn't too many people doing this, so I was building parts for my own truck. I couldn't find anything, and next thing you know, I'm building parts, building parts. I worked on boats for 20 years also, and I got laid off, and went from making really good money to $300 a week unemployment, and I kind of panicked because I got a lot of bills. $300 is up to pay your bills. So next thing you know, my buddies took the buyout from Ford, and he came to work here back in 2005. He's been here ever since. I started paying him my unemployment check to start making stuff, and here we are. 20 years later, and just about, and still going.
No, that's awesome.
It's kind of kept
That's a
moving
testament to your
on.
work.
So, yeah, desperation. You got bills to pay, so you start like, what can I do to make money? And
Absolutely.
it's been a struggle, man. It's not all roses and stuff. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and whatever it takes to make stuff happen. Because a lot of responsibility, taking people's money and making parts, and man, it's a lot of stress. Gained a lot of weight over the years from lack of sleep. Like, I gotta get that guy's parts done. It just lays on you. It's like, gotta get it done, gotta get it done. Next thing you know, you get it done. So wish there's more than 24 hours in a day. I could go for like about 60 hours in a day, and we can get some stuff done.
Right. You'd still have 2 hours of sleep at night.
But yeah, 2 hours is good. Three is better, but I'll do two. Good.
Right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on tonight.
That lag is really weird. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. I'm sure we'll talk in the future. We got to talk mud truck off camera too. So,
I hope so.
right on. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, for sure. I got some stuff I want to tell you about camera.
All right.
See ya.
See ya. All right. I got to set this up here. We got Jake up next. And if I do this right, I think I can set it up. Maybe not. Let's go like this. Boom. Reselect. Still a learning curve for me. There it is. Done. And boom. Look at that. Jake, can you hear me? Oh, you're muted. Let's see here. No, we're still muted. What are we doing? I fought with this with Luke when we first got him on too. Try that. Are you on your phone? Huh. We have no audio. Delay down to 0. On. How about now? Huh. You're on my end, but I don't hear you in my earphone. Do you have external mic? Huh. Typical.
Nothing on the screen. On his end.
We'll troubleshoot it. We'll get it.
How about now?
There it is.
All right, I had the screen too far up. Sorry about that.
No, no worries. It's a learning experience for all of us guys. Um, I was very, very much not good at this when I started it. I messed up a bunch of stuff. Sloan actually had to come on here on his own because he was like, "No, can't let you do this. It's way low quality." Um, but we're getting better every episode. So
All
Jake
right.
Newman, we're we're running a little late here, and I really wanted to talk to you. Um, you stayed on for most of that with Luke. Could you hear what was going on there?
Oh yeah, I heard it. It was really interesting to listen to. I mean, I've seen him on Trucks Gone Wild and stuff, but it's interesting to see your guys' conversation and just like kind of on a personal level.
When uh, when I first started doing this, I was like, we got to get people on that I know, people that I can talk to, and now that my comfort level is there, I'm just like, screw it. I don't even care if I know them. Bring them on here. I'm going to ask them some questions. I'm going to get to know them, and it's fun because I
Yep.
think everybody gets to know each other better that way.
Yeah, I agree.
So we first met at Benson Bog Days probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think we've been going for 4 years now. Me and my guys from the Finless and Hinkley area.
Yep.
Um, I don't recall us meeting then. Do you specifically?
I know that I saw you around the place. I've been there
Oh, okay.
for God since the '90s. So um, we met in passing for sure because I make sure I see everybody that's there. Um,
All right.
4 years ago, I was still doing the DJ booth. I was still doing the announcing. So we might not have hung out. It's
Sure.
been just a couple years that we actually got to sit and BS while we were there. But
Yep.
I've always known you were there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite events. Me and the boys just one year were like, you know what? We got nothing going on. Let's drive up there. It's a 2 hour drive for us. And man, after that day, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm a lifer. I'm going every time I can.
Heck yeah.
And I've had,
Did you hear we're talking about doing two again this year?
yeah, I did. I just hope it doesn't fall on the weekend that Klein's down in Waconia is.
So we've
I know
already
that
had some
happened last year.
conversations about that.
Okay.
We're going to try to schedule it better this year. It's really tough to do one in September and not hit somebody's fun run,
Yep.
but we're for that.
Yeah, I really wanted to come up and wheel because I was listening to some of your other podcasts. I think it was the one where you're talking to Nate and Mandy and talking about how the fall mud is way different than the spring mud, and that really it piqued my interest.
So
I love
you
that
know you
place.
know our bog really well. You've been in
Yeah.
pretty much every square inch of it.
Yep.
And at some point when it gets stirred in the spring or in June, it has like a water base and then a hard bottom.
Yep.
Now, when you let that settle out all summer long, it's like it coagulates. It's like it gets soup. The soup turns thick.
Okay.
The fall mud's it's neat mud. It's really fun.
I bet it takes some serious power to go out there and play because I know in the spring it's really thick and it's hard on the trucks, but it's super fun.
Right.
I can only imagine in the fall it's that much more of a challenge, getting stuck more and
You know, we used to do it in the fall, like when we were a little dinky small bog, and it was a lot
Okay.
of us locals that were out there playing. We didn't have like a sanctioned race or nothing like that going on. We actually, at one point, Nate came up with a game plan 3 times every summer. And the fall one was always the one that where I was like, I'm bringing something there because this is the fun pit, you know.
Okay.
Um, as you've seen it in the last 4 years, it's the pit evolves every year.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we stir it up every year. This year we were probably when we started thawing out. I bet you we had 100,000 gallons of water running off that back berm.
Wow.
So we were full. um, I don't know how much pumping we're gonna have to do before the June run, but
So do they normally pump water into it for that run?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, depending on the spring, a lot of times it'll be a late May, early June, depending on what the water level starts at. Um, we have a permit with the DNR to pump quite a bit of water in.
Okay.
So a lot of times we'll let it dry right out, reconfigure everything when it's dry, pump her full, stir it up. Other times when you guys get there on Thursday or Friday and you see the little bitty cattails and or not cattails but lily pads and stuff out there, that means we
Yep.
haven't had to stir nothing. Um,
Okay.
those are fun times too.
Yeah, I haven't had a bad experience at Benson's yet. We've camped 2 different years, and then we come up for the day run 2 different years. And it's just so much fun. It's crazy. I love the experience, the layout, the pit, the people, the racing's cool. It's just all around a great time. And I tell everyone from down here even to make the trip, even just for a day, a few hours, whatever. Just make the trip. You're gonna fall in love with it.
It's hard. We've had a ton of people that just pulled in for a day their first year, and they're like, well, we're just going to try it. And it seems like those people, I think they're on the south side of the campground now, and they have a pretty big area. They just keep growing. Um,
Okay.
everybody that shows up the first time, they're like, we don't know what to expect, and pretty much all of them turn into Mud Family over the years. So it's been great.
Yep. I can't believe how low key it is at night. You know, you got a few bonfires rolling around. There's not a lot of ATV traffic, not a lot of craziness like you get from other bogs, which in turn keeps the security at ease because there just isn't the drama, at least that I've seen. And that's really nice. It's refreshing.
I started out like, God, I don't know how long it was, like 8 or 9 years ago. Nathan says, "Well, we need to have somebody that we call security," and I'm like, "I'll do it." And it was
Yep.
really, really lax then. I worked with a private security company last year, and I took the overnight shift. And those guys are like, "Are you sure you can handle the overnight shift?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah! I'll be sleeping over there. If anything, if there's any sort of ruckus, call me. I'll be there." And
Yep.
of course, we had the tsunami the first night, and I just sat there with the windshield wipers on, and I had two people that were out playing in the puddles afterwards. I had a side by side that I had to tell him, "Hey, bud, I get it. There's water in the campground, but we don't need you ripping through here." And
Right.
and I had some girls that decided to go puddle hopping. We'll say that I told them they should probably go back to camp. That was the worst of it, you know.
Yep.
No, good times. Um,
Oh, yeah.
before we get it, well, we've already got into a bunch of stuff, but let's talk about your background. Let's talk about the organization that you're with. I see you on YouTube all over the place now. Let's plug some of the stuff you do instead of just when you come up and hang out with us.
Okay. I got a small little YouTube channel. It's called Lowlanders Offroad. It was called Lowlanders Offroad Club. I dropped the club specifically just for the merch that I'm going to make because I didn't want everyone else to have club merch. So this is just kind of me filming what a mud bogger does during non-mud bog days.
Right on.
You know, I mean, like my latest video is the preparation to get the truck on the trailer, check things, chain it down, and I did a little time lapse to the bog, and then went right into the footage of walking around trucks and then actual wheeling footage. So I've been doing that. Try to do it every week since the beginning of the year, this year,
Right
and
on.
it's grown significantly in just a short amount of time, which is quite impressive. Um, my background in the mud world is, honestly, I've been doing this since I was in my mom's stomach. They've been mud bogging since the early 80s, like 81, 82. And when I was born, they really got serious with it. They started mud racing with the NMR throughout Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit into Iowa. But they did the straight line stuff. And then once that got too fast, they got out of the racing and then went into like playing in swamps and private property stuff. And at that time, there really wasn't much going on that we knew of. So we would wheel in Pine City at the old Pine City Mud Bog. And then, I mean, ever since then, I was hooked. I love it. It's the only thing I think about most times throughout the day. Constantly thinking about, oh man, if I had more horsepower, bigger tires, you know, just the endless cycle of it's never good enough. And I got a pretty sweet truck that I've wanted for a long time, but I'm like, all right, I got a small block. Now it's time for a big block and different gearing. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah. It's for me, I progressed, like I said, Nathan and I have been buddies since we were little kids. Our dads worked together. They road share to work together. So our
Okay.
families have been intertwined since he was like 4 years old. Um, when we started thinking about mud bogging, we were probably in my trailer house with some Hot Wheels cars, going through the shag carpet, having a
Oh
blast.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that did the same thing.
right where that's gone now, I mean, Nathan had a dream a long time ago that facility where we mud bogged, that's his grandpa's backyard, and
Okay.
we used to sneak out there and had one little mud hole, and if we got through it 3 or 4 times and nobody caught us, we won. We were doing awesome. And now where we're at, it's like the whole freaking state knows we're out here. um,
Right.
yeah, it's a good time. But I started out with a little S10. I picked it up out of the Manny shopper. The 4-wheel drive worked. Had bald tires on it. Um, I think it had first. No, it had second, third, and reverse. And I'm like, perfect. We cut the wheel wells out of it. I threw some 38s on it, and by the time we got done in the mud hole, it didn't have second, third, or reverse. So, then that one went by the wayside, and another one came, and I did S10s for a lot of years. And my good friend Jeremy Detloff, he told me, he says, "Here's this old square body sitting here. It's cheap. It's already kind of built. It's pretty abused, but you can get a good deal on it." So we
Yep.
progressed to that one, and I drove that one a couple times. My son decided he really liked it, so he took that one over. And
Okay.
then I found this Jeep Facebook Marketplace deal, and you know, I probably would be a lot farther ahead if I would have just went, God, I want to build a Jeep, and here's the tires, and then built
Yeah.
everything on top of it. I
Yep.
don't think that would have took the 5 years. Um, we're getting close. It'll be fun.
What's left to do on that thing?
I got to stuff a motor in it, like
Okay.
a real healthy one. But I think, I tried the route of I bought a. I don't want to say it was tired. I bought a pretty good 383 stroker. That's what I started up,
Okay.
and I wrecked that. That was my fault. And from there, I've just kind of been, I want to say, limping into it. Like, oh, here's a good deal on this engine. Buy it, put it in. Boy, that sucks. you know, um,
Well, yeah.
I'm to the point where I have a really good friend that wants to build a good stroker motor with me.
Okay.
I want to learn it and know it, so if I do break it, I can fix it. And
Sure.
and that takes time, and I run way out of time a lot of times. So
I think we all do to some extent. I'm always working on my truck the day before an event.
always.
Yep.
No, that's how it works. I think like what I've seen from you, it's your machine comes there ready to wheel, and then you deal with the adversity all weekend long, and you're always out there wheeling. And it's not always perfect, but it's always still moving. I haven't seen you winch it on the trailer yet, I don't think.
No, I usually get pretty lucky that they will drive onto the trailer 99% of the time. Now I say that it's something's going to happen. It's going to have to get pushed on with a machine or winched on or what have you. But thankfully, in the years I've been wheeling, I blew up a few motors, but that was at the house messing around testing. But at an event, I've had very good luck with minimal breakage. The thing throws the belts off, the truck I have now, but that's partially my doing, putting a Chevy alternator on a small block Mopar, and the belts just aren't quite lined up.
Right.
And with the RPM I run, it throws them off, and just put them back on and go again.
Oh, yeah. So this year for the June run, I sponsored the King of the Pit belt again. We did it at Septemberfest, but it's a big championship belt. And when we were talking about it and I was designing it, I was like, God, I hope Jake shows up, because I always think that you're a contender for something like that, because you're always out there playing.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you thinking about that, or thinking about me, because honestly, I'm going to do my damnedest to win that belt.
Right
I
on.
want it. Last year I
it's an
saw that
awesome
there was
belt.
last year I saw there was the King of the Pit thing, and I never heard what happened with that for the June run. And the group I was with, I got overruled. We had to they all wanted to head out Sunday morning, and I wanted to stay and wheel, but it is what it is. There's always next time.
Right on. Now that we actually have the official trophy, and I made it like WWE style, big old,
All
it's pretty
right.
cool.
All right.
I'm I'm pretty sure that we all get to vote on it, but I know if you perform like you did last year, even you're a contender for sure. Now
Yeah.
we've been putting it out there and putting it out there and putting it out there. I want to see all the regular mud truck guys. I want to see everything from the little crappy $1,000 truck all the way up to mega trucks out there playing, because that's what King of the Pit is to me. Um,
Right.
it's the hours that you put in behind the steering wheel and the diversity you can conquer. The fall run that we did, the September Fest, I had Kevin on here. He showed off the belt from last year. he broke he broke all sorts of stuff. He almost got beat by a stripped out little square Jeep with a 4.0 in it that was just smashing rev limiter all weekend long. Um, Probably a $200-300 rig. The kid was super proud of it. It was a tough little rig, and he wasn't breaking, and Kevin was. But
Okay.
in the end, he burned like 40 or 50 gallons of race fuel. He put, God, I don't know how many parts he put in that little S10, but he wheeled it, Friday right through Sunday till he ran out of fuel. And
Yep.
he fought through a lot of hardships. So in the end, that's how he won out, and it worked out pretty good because he's a local guy, and the belt didn't show up until 2 days after the event. So
Oh,
we got to have a little
okay.
party for him. It was pretty awesome.
Sounds like a good time. Well,
Uh-oh.
and like I heard on one of the other podcasts, is that the what you guys were looking for is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Absolutely.
and that's what I really want to shoot for, is to be able to make the truck last and be able to perform all 3 days, not just one day, or because I've never experienced Sunday at Benson's, and I really want to try that. And I think the pit will turn out really nice after all day Saturday, and it's really going to change the difficulty of it.
It is. Sunday's kind of the pack up and go home day for a lot of people. And, we're not there real late on Sunday, but there's still a lot of day. There's plenty of time to go play in the mud. We got a comment here from Seth again, and he says, did it drive on at Cullen's? I can't remember. I think he's poking fun at you there.
He is. And yes, Seth, it did drive on the trailer at Collins. Now, I had to back up to a ramp or a slope because of the ramp setup I used. Backstory, I blew the transfer case up 3/4 of the way through the first pass across the best swamp I've wheeled in years. And it did drive on the trailer on its own, no issues.
So there. Take that, Seth. We poke fun at each other. He's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I talk to him quite often.
Right on. So, plans for this year. You just go out in mud, and where are the events that you have planned? Where do you want to go this year?
Memorial, we're not 100% sure where we're going to go yet. We might end up going to a private run, backyard bog kind of thing. Okay. Those are what we prefer the most, and that's most of the wheeling I do. Yep. Is the big events are fun, but as everyone knows, it does get expensive. With the camping and the food and the booze and the admission and all that stuff. We still do hit some of the bigger events, just not as many. But Benson's is on the list. If I get invited back to Klein's, I'm definitely going to go there again. That's a super fun one that I challenge anybody to go and watch because it is such an amazing spectacle. And all the money goes to charity, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
But other than that, I hear about them within a couple weeks of what's going on, like the event date. So there's not a whole lot as far as like a schedule for our runs. But yeah, just whenever we hear about something, load them up, get them ready, let's go play.
Have you done the down home mud bog guys yet?
I was actually going to go, but I took on a job in my shop, so I wasn't able to make it last weekend.
Gotcha. They're doing something Memorial again, too.
I did see that.
Yep. I went, I think it was 3 years ago. I went as the wrench. I held the wrench. Buddy of mine had his truck there. We broke everything. Great people. Nice little small mud bog. It was a blast. It reminded me of when we first started out at Benson's and we were still small and we didn't have any organized things going on. It was just wheeling and fun and good people. And it was a great weekend when we went.
That sounds like a good time. I've been meaning to check it out for years. I just haven't made the journey. Right. And more or less, it's 3 hours away, and that's kind of a haul. Oh, yeah. But I'm not saying I won't do it. I just haven't made the point to do it yet.
Sure. No, that was a fun little one that, I always try to help them places grow because I did have a great experience there.
Yep.
I haven't been back there for a couple of years now. I think it was 3 years ago when we were there. But
okay.
We were testing my buddy Rick's truck. He bought that, what was it called? Blue Balls 2. The UMMRA. We ran it for straight lines for one season. And
I think I remember that truck when they did the straight line drags at Benson's.
Yep. Little blue S10.
Yep.
Pretty mean big block in it.
Yeah, that was. I actually did run in that race.
Did you?
That was my first year camping at Benson's. Just ran a bone stock Dodge on 36s. It was a good time.
Right on. I announced that.
Okay.
That's usually when you see me there. I got a yellow shirt on because I'm always been staff, and I'm usually running 10 different directions. It's
Okay.
crazy what it takes for our volunteer staff to put that thing on. I'll put it that way. Um, if somebody's hollering on the walkie and they're like, "We need gas over here," and I look and there's 5 gallons. I'm on that. If we need to shout out for our sponsors, I grab the microphone. I get that going. If the crowd needs some pumping up, I get some music going or whatever. There's always
Yep.
something to do. But I always have fun doing it.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Oh no, worries. Nah, it must have been contagious. So this Lowlanders thing, it started out as a club, correct?
Yep.
How many guys?
Oh,
Sorry, how many rigs?
there you go. I bet there was, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10 of us that wheeled regularly together. Not everyone could make it every time, but it was really fun, and we still wheel together. I just kind of changed the name and of the YouTube channel and just kind of took it over as my own instead of just wheeling videos.
Sure.
But there was, throughout the years, we've been doing the Lowlanders thing for 7 years now, and it's just been a blast. All sorts of different trucks from stock with, whatever tires we could find, all the way up to 2.5-ton mega trucks. And one guy now is building a 5-ton mega truck.
Oh boy.
So it's evolved crazily, like really fast.
Oh yeah. It's weird for me. Like I said, I started out with a little S10, stuck some big tires on it. Broke that one. I've rolled 2 of them. I've blown up trannies. I've blown up engines. But I always stayed with them cheap, easy trucks.
Yep.
To be perfectly honest with you, I had the right bolt pattern wheels to keep S10s all them years with a set of 38s underneath. So
Heck yeah.
that was kind of my motivation there. I didn't want to take them dry rotted things off those wheels. It was like,
Yep.
hey, hold there, we're going.
Yep.
But just to see like what evolution we've had just at our little mud bog there at Benson's, it wasn't that terribly long ago where, Nathan got in a skidder one day and he was like, well, if I knock these trees out, we got room for racetrack there. We can do this. And I was just like, huh. We used to go down and back around this one oak tree, and that was our pit, and we had a blast doing it. But
Yep.
To the evolution of it, of course, we all want one of them big mega trucks because, who doesn't like horsepower? Who doesn't like just, blasting through the mud and something like that? That's just amazing to me. But
Yep.
the pocketbook doesn't always say I should have one. So that's why I went 1-ton on mine.
Okay.
I got to get good at bogging. I got to get back into bogging and have fun with it again. And I don't know. For me, I don't know that I would build this race truck. I don't know. I think I'd have more fun just playing in the mud, no matter how big the truck I built,
Yeah, I agree with that. I love the racing scene. It's super fun. It's really competitive. The guys are awesome, and the trucks that are out there are just insane. But as far as me building one of those top of the line trucks, I don't ever see it happening. More or less the money, but the amount of time you actually get to use it versus, just play bogging is you can go like every weekend if you want to travel.
Right.
If you want to travel 4 hours, you could bog every weekend for the
Yeah.
first 3 months of the summer,
Oh, absolutely.
spring, summer, So, the entry level racing stuff looks really fun. And I did that at Benson's the one year, and it was super fun. And I was actually quite frustrated with my truck because I was like, why is it so slow? Well, it's bone stock,
Right.
But I'm a huge mud bogging fan. I love playing in all kinds of pits. I really like swamps, but they're few and far between these days, and they get shut down, they get overrun. But my perfect setup is a 1-ton bog truck on DOT tires. I just love them.
Yeah, I put tractors on. Well, I actually bought it with tractor tires. Um, just 42 inches. I think they're going to work really good if the thing ever runs right. But
Yeah.
Nathan gives me heck all the time about it. He's like, no, no, you're a boggers guy. Why do you got them tractor tires? How are you going to slide that corner? How are you going to? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I haven't perfected this machine that I've been working on for 5 years. So
Right.
that's part of the reason why I don't think, like, when I bought this thing, it was 4-link in the rear and has really cool shocks, air shocks in the back of it. They're infinitely adjustable, and everybody's like, 4-link the front of it and jump it. And I'm like, but like I want to bog it, you know?
Right. The biggest thing I can say is build what you want, build it how you want, and drive it how you want.
Right.
If you want to run tractors, more power to you. I'm not hating on them. They're just not my style. I'd like to try a set, but I don't know that I'll ever buy a set. I mean, it's all about what you want, especially in the boggin world, because there's so many options. You can do anything and everything you want to do or can afford. But yeah, I like the way the deal. I don't want the truck to go fast. I want the mud to be as high as I can get it in the air.
Right on.
That's my favorite thing.
All right. Luke says, I'm a personal fan of bog trucks versus race trucks. I all about the fun factor. Right on. Swamps with cattails is his favorite type of boggin. That makes sense.
I fully
In the
agree.
state of Minnesota, you got to watch. They don't like us wrecking their swamp for some reason. I think it makes it better. I really do. But I don't think the DNR, they frown on the cattail thing.
Yep.
And I don't know why.
Yeah,
but that's
they really don't like it. I don't understand, but I've also never really done much research into why.
neither have
The
I.
thing that gets me, huh?
I haven't done any research into it. I know that if there's a cattail there, it'll be frowned upon if you tread on it. I don't know why.
Right.
I don't have a clue why.
The one part that gets me is we're the land of 10,000 lakes and like 100,000 swamps.
Right.
What's wrong with us playing in 1 or 2 acres of it? You know, like a small little section. It grows back better. You're tilling it up. I've seen it firsthand many times. You play somewhere, let it sit for 3-4 months, and it looks better than it did when you started.
Absolutely.
So,
You know,
I mean,
at Benson's, that's a man-made hole there, and
okay.
just the vegetation that comes in from June until September, say, it's really really neat to see how nature just overcomes. Like they just trash that place in June, and you come back in September and it's all bright and green, and it. I don't think it hurts a swamp at all, even if it's a man-made one.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't know enough about the way that stuff works. I'm a gearhead.
Right.
I don't know nothing about plants or swamps or none of that.
They're fun to play in.
Oh, I know that. That's the only thing I really know.
Right. Now I've got a pretty good hole right behind my house. I got 80 acres and I got some game trails. And I got one spot that, that happened to be the demise of my first 383 stroker. It's really gooey. Like from where Nathan is, I'm only 4 miles away, but I'm 100% clay where I'm at. Like
Okay.
he's got a sand vein in there where we actually farm in mud, bring in the clay on top of that sand to make the pit.
Okay.
Where I'm at, I think you could dig to the water table and it's just straight blue clay.
All right.
So the one part in my game trail has a pretty decent sized hole in it, and it's probably because of me from the time I was a little kid. You get in there and you get on the giggle pedal and it gets deeper for some reason,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my style of bogging. I really dig that. When we were kids, there was a trail, old forestry trail, right up the road from my house, and I think everything that we owned at one point or another was stuck somewhere on that trail. You know,
Yep.
yeah, that's the roots of it, and I don't know. I don't think I'm going back to my roots necessarily. I love watching these mega trucks go jump and turn that corner, and I love the horsepower. I love the feeling that you get. All that
Yep.
is awesome. I just don't know. I don't know that I could afford it. I don't know that I'd drive it to its full potential because I'd be afraid to break it because I break everything. Um, but I really love it when them guys bring their stuff and put on a show. You know, it's awesome to watch.
Oh, absolutely. When the racing starts, everyone stops and watch, myself included. Last year at Benson's, we pulled my big truck up and piled the back full of people, and we
Yep.
watched the races, and we sat in the back and we drank beer, and it was just the greatest time. When them trucks fire up and they go to race, it is a spectacle, and I really enjoy watching it.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. You know, it hasn't been that terribly long that we've had a race there. Um, Before we'd have like the local guys, like I said, you'd be like, well, run down past that oak tree and back here, and somebody'd have a stopwatch, and
Okay.
the winner'd get a case of beer. Um, those were fun times too, but they were more bog oriented.
Right.
We just played in the mud. Um, Bringing a race into it, we haven't had a bad race. We haven't had a bad race association there. These people that put their time and their money into that's awesome. I'm glad they all do it. It's just different than where we started, I think.
Yeah, 100%. But it's another form of entertainment for the people sitting in the stands. Whereas watching mud trucks all day, it does get kind of boring, just playing in the pit. And the spectacle side of it that really gets people involved is the racing and the jumping and the near crashes and stuff like that.
Right.
It's I understand why it's such a big event, like a big ordeal, because it's really fun to watch.
It is. It's a blast to watch. Now, from my side of it, like I said, I know that I've seen you there all 4 times you've been there. But I watch, like, I don't know if I have a different mind's eye, maybe. But I'm watching for that guy, and I'll watch him go back, over to his camp. All of a sudden, the wheel comes off. He's fixing something, and I'm like, oh, dang it, he broke. And then, boom! All of a sudden, he's back in the pit. That's
Yep.
that's what I watch. I really like the fact that I got Sloan into it this last year because I was like, he was, we got to go get all this racing stuff. We got it, and I'm like, no, watch the pit. This is really cool. And then he's messaging back and forth with me on his phone, and he's like, man, I got all this good footage of this little truck just bonsaiing into the deepest hole out there. And I'm like, told you.
Yep.
It's for us. We're really grassroots, and I think part of it's all about the experience thing is
Mm-hmm.
we don't necessarily pick one or two of the big guys, and that's what we surround we make our show about. It's about everybody from the littlest guy to the great big cool guy. That little guy is just as cool, and he's probably on a budget, and I love taking a picture of him, and I love seeing it as his Facebook profile picture. That's awesome to me. I think everybody should have equal time in that. And we do that with the derby guys, we do that with the enduro guys. Everything, I shouldn't just say guys, it's not just a guy's sport. None of it is.
Right.
But all of those people deserve their picture taken, for sure. Be on the video.
I agree. And honestly, one of my favorite things after you get home and you unpack and you're sitting down relaxing is scrolling Facebook and seeing the pictures of your pride and joy out there, whether or not it's that $300 beater with junk tires on it or the biggest, baddest truck. everyone, in my opinion, still gets excitement out of seeing action pictures of their rig. It's just super cool. And if you make a video, even better, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. We're actually, this year is going to be, I believe, the first live race event. We're gonna put it on, probably on Facebook. We had some trouble with our YouTube channel. Still working that out. Probably gonna have to start over, honestly. But we had signed up to do a live platform for Benson Bog Days, at least for the Built to Beat race. But now we're talking about the Built to Beat race, the freestyle afterwards, and I'll have somebody there, probably my son, on Sunday. We have a derby to cover on Sunday, but
Okay.
so when they give away the belt, I'll have my vote in on Saturday when I leave. But we want to have live coverage of that, not necessarily live coverage of that, but footage from Sunday as well. So
Okay. So how late do they run the pit on Sunday up there?
I believe it closes at like 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So it's still, if you're a couple hours away, you can still get home, get supper in, and get a decent night's sleep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I told my friends last year I wanted to try for that King of the Pit thing, and I didn't run my truck as much as I thought I would. And we were just enjoying the time, having fun, watching the races, hanging out. You know, we got some friends to come with that weren't into going to bigger events, and they fell in love with Benson. And I'm pretty sure they're coming back with us this year.
Right
But
on.
we were just, I mean, I think I ran my truck 4 or 5 times on Saturday, and it was just the overall experience was so much fun that I didn't really like. I was having fun with the people. I didn't want to go out and be in the truck, but at the same time, I went there to wheel, so it was like, yeah, it kind of sucks, you know.
When you show up there, what time about do you get there on? Like on you come on Friday, right?
Last year we came up Friday. We got there at like I think it was 11:55 or 12:05.
Right on.
I
So
don't
about
remember
noon.
exactly, but it was right around noon. And I jokingly cracked a beer and sent my coworker a picture of my lunch, which was the beer,
Right.
and he was all mad at me about that.
Perfect. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Like, it seems like most of the bog trucks show up, midday Friday. And they all kind of sit around and they look at the pit and they're trying to figure out, well, should I hit this here? Or, there's a lot of talk, but there's not a ton of action right away.
Right.
Like everybody's assessing the situation. And some of the best bogging you're going to have is unload that truck, make sure the fluids are good on it, and hit the center of that thing. It's a blast when nobody's really tilted up.
Yep. Yeah, we were out there. I think we were out there by 1 o'clock because we went, unloaded, set up camp, and then went and looked at the pit, stopped by the merch booth or tent,
Yep.
and then Mandy was like, "Let us know when you're going to go out there. We'll put it on the live feed." And I was like, "You'll hear us. Don't worry."
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty cool to be on the live feed. I had my friends texting me very shortly after that run I made, and they're like, "Wow, you made the live feed." I was like, "Oh, sweet," you know.
With
So little things like that.
with this apparatus that we bought last year, we're actually admins on the Benson Bog Days page as well.
Okay.
So if we can figure out how to do it, we can actually go live on several platforms.
Oh,
So I don't know how we're going to work that out, or if we can do it at that at that event.
yep.
But we'll definitely probably pop back and forth. I know when we do the coverage of the race, I'm going to have to be on our platform. But for the rest of it, we're all about getting them guys content and
Yep.
getting the word out there and growing this thing. For a family fun event, you just can't beat this one. I haven't seen one that's better, honestly.
And I agree with that.
Good. That's awesome. Oh, where are we at here? Jeez. We're babbling. It's 8:40 at night. I started this thing at like 7:05. I'm really we're going to have a meeting at some point because if if I just ran one guest every week, we wouldn't run over every week like I do. I get talking, this stuff's fun. You don't notice that
Yep.
it's a half hour's burnt up that quick.
Right.
But before we get off of here, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, a thank you to, somebody that helped you along the way? Any last words?
I want to thank my wife, especially. She puts up with all these shenanigans and helps me with it. And she loves it. We go together to 90% of what we do. All the guys of the Lowlanders Off-Road Club, just a great group of guys. We wheel together a lot. We work on each other's trucks. We help each other in any way possible, giving parts, helping, lending hands, hauling trucks, whatever. Just want to say what's up to all them guys. Go over and check out the Lowlanders YouTube channel, Lowlanders Off-Road. If you wouldn't mind, click the subscribe button. Watch some of the videos. It's pretty cool stuff, Minnesota stuff. So,
Right on.
other
No,
than that,
I really like that. I've watched, I really got a kick out of the fact that, like, when we do a derby, it's like a 3 hour video. And I'm like, okay, so if there's something that's slow in there, you kind of want to fast forward it, but you might miss something. And it seems like all the videos that are on your platform are simple, to the point. You don't have to watch it for an hour to see somebody out there playing in the mud. There's somebody doing something. They're not super long videos. I really like that, you know.
well, I try to make videos that I want to watch, and I watch a lot of YouTube, whether it be the shop stuff, car racing, mud bogging, go-karts, whatever. I watch all sorts of stuff, but I make videos that I like to watch that keep you interested. And yeah, some of the stuff, it gets a little long and drawn out, but for the most part, I edit everything myself and I watch every video through before I post it. And I feel like, and well, even with some of the reviews I get from the people that watch them, that they like what I'm doing, and that feels really good. I'm just doing this for the fun of it.
Right.
Everything about it, I enjoy it.
That's pretty much where we are. I mean, we were at a point where I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because I don't know the YouTube stuff. But at any rate, we're probably going to have to start ours over again, and we don't really care. It's just for fun anyway. But
Right.
you know, it's cool to have a platform like that, a platform like this, where you can just get on there, BS about, the motorsports that you like.
Right.
And I think that's where we're at. Well,
Yeah.
I've probably pushed this one to the envelope. We're definitely over our 1 hour time limit. But thank you very much for being on here. It was great BSing with you again. If I don't see you before Benson's, come and find me at Benson's because, we got to hang out again. That was fun.
Absolutely, man. I fully agree. And I want to say thank you very much for thinking of me for this, because this has been amazing. I love watching your podcasts, and I watched every one so far.
Awesome.
So thanks for thinking of me and having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
No, it's always fun. It's weird. Like for me, I'm just some idiot from Cohasset. I'm not nothing special. And I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to be on the podcast?" And they're like, "God, yeah." Really? And the same idiot that you saw at the mud bog, I'm not any different, So we appreciate having the content. We appreciate being able to talk to these people that we get along with, people that we've never seen before, never talked to, We've had several opportunities to do that, and that's been a great time too. So we appreciate all you guys. If it wasn't for having somebody to BS with, we wouldn't have a podcast.
Right. Well, anytime you want to talk again, man, I'm more than welcome or more than happy to come on.
Oh heck yeah. We we weren't gonna have another mud podcast, and Sloan said, "Do it one more week," and I said, "Okay." And we wanted to get all the content we could in before Memorial because there's 3 different mud bogs to go to. We're actually going to
Right.
be at 2 of them, our crew. So we opted for this one extra week, and instantly I thought of you. I'm like, heck yeah, mud bog guy. Yeah, we got him.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, once we get through our whole cycle, we got to switch back to derbies now.
Yep.
We got some derbies that are going to be coming up that we've actually got a really busy schedule this year. And so we got to give them guys their props and give them their moment in the sun too. But yeah, when we get back to mud, maybe end of June or something. We're already into May. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we'll have a after Benson's mud review.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Heck yeah.
Anytime, let me know.
All right, we'll do. Well, I'm going to get off of here. Thanks a lot, Jake.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
And we'll talk to you later.
All right, man.
Okay. I can take that off my ear. Okay. So that was episode 13. We are way over time. I'm sorry. I get talking about mud and it just lasts forever. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. As you all know, there's probably a reconfiguration of our YouTube channel in our future. We'll keep you posted on Facebook, what's going on with it and what we got to do to make that work for everybody. We appreciate y'all for following us on all the platforms. But we will get the YouTube thing figured out. It might take a couple weeks, but we'll get it all figured out and we'll be back on there too. As always, this will come up on Spotify at some point when we get editing done and everything like that. It's been a heck of a journey. I think we're done with mud now. I'll have to talk with my partner in crime and find out what we're up to next week. And then we'll announce that on the YouTube channel again. I think that's it for tonight. I'm going to get off of here. I've been pretty long-winded. But remember, it's all about the experience.